My dear friends, you came to temple on a very special Shabbat, as Rabbi Wollner mentioned. This is the Sabbath when we begin the fifth and final book of the Torah. The English name, Deuteronomy, is derived from the Greek word, which means second law. It's the translation of a Hebrew expression found later in the book. But the Hebrew name for this book is actually the second word of the book, Divarim. Ele Divarim. These are and if you read English Bible translations, they usually say the words. Divarim are words. These are the words, listen closely, that Moses spoke to all Israel. That's how our Torah portion begins. These are the words of the entire book, as Rabbi Wollner said, Moses' farewell speech, spoke to all of Israel. We're going to be reading these words for 2 months until we get through the high holidays. It's kind of an odd phrase coming from a guy, Moses, who said to God back in the Passover story, if you were listening, choose someone else, God, to lead the people because I am not a man of words. I am not a man of Devarim. That was when Moses was 80. It's 40 years later. He's 120. And now we're told these are the words that Moses spoke. Gone was Moses' uncertainty about his communication skills. Gone was his fear. Moses wasn't the same man at 120 that he was at 80. No. He was better, smarter, more confident. Words, therefore, came more easily to him later in life. I know the numbers are hyperbolic in terms of age longevity, 80, 120, not 80, but 120, but let's admit it. There are people here approaching 100. We all mature, don't we? I know that some of us may still be waiting to mature, but no matter how long we live, hopefully we all grow with experience. We learn things that may be contrary to the things that we once believed in our youth. Just a few examples. Do you remember growing up and your parents told you to do X, Y, or Z? Like always be respectful, put in your best effort, be careful what you say. We heard these things as kids, as teenagers, and maybe we ignored them because we thought they were dated and old-fashioned. With time, though, you realize that your parents, more often than not, were right. And you hope that your own children will come to the same realization about your advice one day. But what about the things that you believed in your youth that proved to be false? Perhaps the number one lie heard in childhood is, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words, Devarim, can never hurt me. We all know that phrase. We heard it as children, but who truly believes that phrase anymore? Is there anyone who believes that words do not have the power to hurt and do damage? If words couldn't hurt, we would have more family members talking to each other. If words couldn't hurt, there would be fewer family rifts and fewer battles in this world. Words can help or hurt, depending on how we use them. What do we say? What words do we use when we're not sure exactly what to say? What devarim, what words, if any, make a difference? And part of the answer I want to share with you tonight, it seems, is not in what we have to say, but in what we do not say. In the answers we do not pretend to have. Did you know, for instance, that in Hebrew, that word davar is both a word and a thing, speech and action. Sometimes our mouths utter words that are meant to be helpful that end up being hurtful. One woman, in the aftermath of experience a rough time, offered these please statements for us to think about. And you could fill in the blank. With her, it was death, but it could be divorce, it could be hurt. A rough time. She said, and I quote, "Please don't ask me if I'm over it. Please don't tell me how I feel. How can you possibly know how I feel? If you're religious," she says, "please don't tell me that God only tests the strongest. If that's the case, I sure wish God had made me weak. Please, God, don't tell me God never gives you more than you can bear. Who decides how much another person can bear? Please just say you're sorry. Please don't worry about words. Just let me talk if I want to, and just be there. That's all." This woman's message contains powerful words, helpful advice for every one of us in our effort to bring comfort to our friends and ourselves after a loss or setback of any kind. Comfort, you see, isn't about words at all in Judaism. In most cases, silence, the rabbis say, is the best response of all. It's like flipping an expression you all know on its head. Instead of "don't just stand there, do something," it's "don't do or say anything, just stand there. Let your presence be my comfort and strength." Or this is my favorite line one wise father said to the members of his family. He said to them, "During any rough times, my prayer for you is this one sentence. There should be such a oneness between each of you that when one of you weeps, the others shall taste salt." No words necessary, just presence, compassion, empathizing with another person's pain. We can't always explain what life throws our way. We can't ever completely know or understand another person's pain, but we can be there quietly, simply, and when we speak, choosing our divarim carefully. Eile divarim, from now until after Yom Kippur and Sukkot. These will be the words the stutterer Moses at age 80 carefully chooses to offer our ancestors before he leaves them. The name of this final book, my friends, reminds us to guard our loose mouths, to talk less and listen more. After all, as the rabbis teach, that's why God gave us one mouth and two ears, so that we might listen twice as much as we talk. Amen.